Okay, fantastic day to everybody and to all of you who are tuning in. We are just so thankful that you've taken the time out of your busy, not so busy, somewhat busy schedule to listen to our conversations. This is another leg where we are talking with Mr. Kevin Thompson, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Solid Waste Management Company Limited, SWMCOL for short. Hello, Mr. Thompson.
Hi, Cyan. Good morning.
How are you today?
I am.
Right, and I see you're at work. So you see people, not all of us have the luxury of being at home. I am at home, he's at work. Right? Yes. So just for the people, you are at work, yes. So just for you guys to just get a bit of background about Mr. Thompson before we delve into the conversation. So Mr. Kevin Thompson assumed the role of Chief Executive Officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Solid Waste Management Company Limited, SWMCOL, on November 1st, 2019. So you would have just made your 6 months, a little over 6 months, right?
Yeah, a little over 6 months, yeah.
So you're fresh and new. Formerly Operations Director at Althev Oilfield Services Limited, Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Thompson brings a wealth of experience in the areas of project management, directly operations and maintenance and logistics. He's reading for a Master of Science in Major Program Management at the University of Oxford, holds an advanced certificate project management from the Rochester Institute of Technology, has a Bachelor of Laws from the University of London, a Bachelor of Science Engineering from the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, and a professional certificate in corporate finance from Columbia University. I don't envy the laws degree, Mr. Thompson. I'm not, my brain not for that.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
I had one course while I was UE called Law, Governance, Economy, and Society. It was a foundation course. So that means we had to pass it in order to be able to graduate. That thing, my gosh, I passed it. That's important. That's the important part of that story. I passed the class. Yeah. Mr. Thompson is a project management professional, PMP-PMI, and a senior member and current treasurer of the Institute of Electric and Electronic Engineers, Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Thompson has expressed his desire in working with Team SWMCOL to ensure the gaps between strategy and delivery are realized. This desire, paired with his early experience in the fields of commercial and engineering, will position SWMCOL to accomplish its strategic objective of transforming waste into gold. I like that. Yes. I like that. Because I am also on a mission to show that waste has value. And from your perspective, the value is as rich as gold, which is an awesome analogy, because we need to continue to show people that waste is a valuable resource. It should be treated as such. And therefore we need to manage it in a more effective manner. So with that, so since you've been at SWMCOL, what is your vision for the company? What are some of the things you hope to achieve during your tenure there?
Okay, well, picking up on your comment about turning waste into gold, solid waste management is everyone's business. And I guess as SWMCOL, we have been set by the government as a sort of steward to lead in the development of the solid waste management sector. So in that leadership role, we have, I would say, maybe 2 or 3 buckets. Let's say 3 buckets to look at. We have some programs. So you would have heard about the RAP and that's the workplace waste reduction and recycling program, municipal curbside MCRP, public sector recycling programs, community programs. We have a number of programs. And then second element is policy. So people make a lot of complaints about, us as a country, that we don't have certain things in place and we don't have this in place. So we are doing our part in terms of the solid waste management sector to ensure that policies related to a host of waste streams are addressed. And then strategy going forward, really partnering with, NGOs, other organizations to ensure that what we are thinking about and the policies that we have and the programs that we have really come together in a way that encourages the wider population to participate in solid waste management. The challenge is, in this particular sector, we need the cooperation of the public, and that requires a behavioral change, and that is always difficult. So we are not unaware of the challenge. We're embracing the challenge, but in going out to the public, we want to go to them in a concerted way that says, here are our policies. Here's the strategy. Here's where we would like to be. Here are the people we're partnering with the different programs that we have. And you can join us and you can help us making Trinidad and Tobago a nicer place, moving a little bit above the making Charlie mad. We want to do that. We want to make Charlie mad by not littering, but we want to go further than that. We want to see that there's an opportunity with the waste, not just to not put it in the wrong place, but now we're going further to put it in the right place. And that has opportunities, not just for SWMCOL, but for entrepreneurs like yourself, for businesses, for other companies, and for the wider society.
And I certainly 1000% agree. I liked how you started by saying solid waste is everybody's business, because it is. And I like giving people real examples. So I tell them, if your garbage truck stops coming for 1 week, tell me how you'll feel. What would that feel like for you? What would that experience be like? And you're like, oh gosh, Angel, the truck has to come. I said, okay. So if we now look at the amount of waste that we are generating as individuals, as a collective, and we start to participate in activities that will reduce the amount of waste that we're generating, because that's the next question that I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Because landfilling is our main method of disposal in Trinidad and Tobago. SWMCOL also manages a material recovery facility for plastics, and is where we also have what we call the eye care program in Trinidad, where beverage containers are collected and they end up at SWMCOL's facility for processing, right? So the thing is to show, one of the goals that I have taken on as an entrepreneur as well is showing people how they can now look at what they're throwing away from at home, from in their businesses, and say, okay, ask themselves the question, what else can I do? Can this be an input for something else? And that's where the whole principle of the circular economy comes in.
Yeah.
If I like gardening, composting is your best bet. So I teach people how to compost, right? And so, because it's all about us doing our part, I think people still are very disconnected between what they're generating when the garbage truck comes, what happens to it, and the role that they play in the whole thing. Because my father taught me from very, very young that you always leave a place cleaner than you've met it. So from very young, I was picking up other people's garbage. It's no doubt that I am working in the waste management sector as well, because it's something that has been ingrained in me from as early as I can remember. So if we go to a fast food outlet, you're not leaving your box on the table. I love hiking. If we go on a hike and we have our little snacks and little juice, and you're not leaving that behind. Those are not, we're not even options. So that's part of what I want to encourage. And the thing is, we generate so much waste that as you said, there's opportunity for entrepreneurs. I know a few of them. I know those who are in it, and then there are those who want to be in it. But of course, there may be certain barriers to preventing them. But I tell them I brave. I don't care about the barriers. I knocking them down and figuring things out along the way, right? So the question, and the other question that I wanted to ask you is, as I mentioned, because landfilling is our main method of disposal, does SWMCOL have any plans where that is concerned? And does that dovetail into the programs as well in terms of waste reduction? Because I know in the 3 R's, well, I have 6 R's. Reduction
Okay.
is high on the list. And that should always be, we should always go from the top down in the waste hierarchy.
Yes.
And reduction is high up there. So how is the landfilling and the programs, how do they work together?
How do they work together? That's an excellent question. So yes, we do have plans for the landfills. As you know, I mean, it's no secret. There's information out in the public domain that the landfills, as they currently are past their engineered life. So we are busy making plans to change those arrangements. We have started with studies to create a new engineered landfill for Trinidad and Tobago, but supporting that. And the challenge is that if we continue with the same practices we have related to waste, if we don't do the public education, if we don't engage the public in a behavior change, then we cannot actually operate the new landfill. So along the way, it's going to be a 5-year journey. Along the way, we have to engage with the public to change those behaviors, to start separating waste at the source, so that I would say that the programs that we have now, that we partnering with iCare, municipal and public sector, recycling, all those programs working together along with a public education campaign, change the behaviors of the citizens. Because what we would like is when we source separate, instead of just having one MRF, a material recovery facility for bottles, we have a material recovery facility that does all of the waste that comes to us and deals with it in a comprehensive way. I think you would know that something like 70% of the waste that comes to our landfills is recyclable. And that's a staggering number. And if we consider that 70% of what we are getting can actually be reused or repurposed, the circular economy that you talked about, the sustainable living that is now the buzzword that's around there, it has real implications for the lives of everyone in Trinidad and Tobago. And then also consider that we can put this to use productively. So it means that we can create jobs, that there is income to be gained from it, that we do less damage to the environment, whether it is fuel for fires, chemicals that leach into the ground, affecting the environment. There are so many benefits that come and flow from a wider engagement of the population with the plans that we have in mind, that I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the possibilities of the future. And you know, there are NGOs out there and people like yourself, entrepreneurs, who are partnering with us. But we need to go further. We need to get, you know, the information that you have, that I have, the NGOs have, needs to be spread out wider into the population. We get that engagement, that richer engagement with the population, changing those behaviors, which is always difficult. I'm not saying that we're going to do a public ed campaign this week and everybody's going to be, you know, plastic in one bag, paper in one bag, tins of, that's not reality. But we are looking towards the future, and I think, I mean, one thing about Trinidad, I mean, people often say negative things about Trinidad, but if you really look at the evidence, we are very productive people, and we can turn on a pin. When it came time to change the speed limit, one day it was 80, and the next day driving by, all the signs were 100.
Yeah.
And to me, that is testament to an incredible amount of organization, project management, delivery, and coordination at the ministerial level and the government side, working with the private sector. the same thing happens with this COVID pandemic. I mean, I continue to be amazed and awe of the professionals, the medical professionals, and the officials of the Ministry of Health and other ministries that have really organized our response in a way that has made us the envy. My current school, Oxford, has identified Trinidad as one of the best places to be if there's a pandemic. And they have also identified us as one of the best places to be now that we're coming out of a pandemic. I mean, it's an incredible reflection for a country this small with a population this small, but it says something about our talent. It says something about our ability. It says something about if we put our mind to something with the talent that we have, that we could do something special. So I'm really excited about the possibilities for the future.
Yeah, because as I say, we can do things, you know. When
Yes,
we passionate about something, we get it done, you know. So
yes.
now it's for that passion to, you know, to come to this sector, because I know for a fact once we feel strongly about something, because people petition for as you mentioned, as we're talking about the speed limit example, people petition for the speed limit to be changed, right? And it's because of the push of the public. The ministry also said, well, you know, let's take a serious look at this. Let's talk to our engineers. Our roads were built many moons ago. Do we have the capacity to go at that speed? Because we have to think about causing accidents and all of that too. It's a whole big picture that we have to think about. Well, as I say, Trinis, we know what to, when it's time to get things done, we know how to get things done, you know. But as I said that, I had a conversation with Vibes Radio, which is in Dominica. And I had the opportunity to meet Miss Anne-Marie, who works with the Waste Authority there in Dominica. And while she was speaking, one of the things I realized and that I said is that I realized that we have a lot of similar issues, you know.
Yes.
One of the, what makes a difference is the response to the issues. Of course, take it into consideration our different cultures. But I realized she kept saying, you know, and I was like, well, we have that in Trinidad too. So one of the things that the presenters mentioned was a sort of Caribbean approach to waste, because the conversation was about waste. What are your thoughts on having that kind of collective approach? Notwithstanding, we still have to consider our culture and all of the other factors in our respective countries. But because for me, it's like, okay, can we all have the same, there are certain principles that don't change. So for me, it's at the principle level, and then saying, okay, these are the activities that will allow that principle to come to fruition. So what are your thoughts on that kind of, your own thoughts about that kind of Caribbean approach?
I think it's a fantastic idea. The challenge always is with change, and all of the literature tells you that change is difficult. It tells you if you want to do something new and you want to do something different, there will be forces massed in opposition. That is the literature, and it's not. You're right in saying it's not unique to Trinidad. It's not unique to Dominica or the wider Caribbean. It is something that we all face. I'm a Caribbean child, so, and I think very fondly of the whole CARICOM model and even the previous federation. The challenge is with us in the Caribbean, as with any country or any unit, any organization. The challenge is, how do we? Well, the first challenge is people respond to incentives. Right? That's fundamental. And what are the incentives for us to work together? And generally, it's okay, like yourself or the waste specialist in Dominica, it may be out of a personal desire, a personal heart, or they feel a particular way about the Caribbean. But to get the critical mass of that work done, you need some support in the political directorate. You need some education. in the various territories. But I've found, having worked, in different places, people are very, very similar, as you've observed. The challenges are very, very similar. So if one can create that space where there's a forum for that kind of conversation to take place, I think you'd be amazed at the amount of people who would be willing to contribute. In our own example here locally, the government is building a response, a post-COVID response. And among the various technical organizations that I belong, some of my former colleagues from UWI and from other places, I've seen the young professionals come up with a plan that has come to me. I've seen engineers that I went to school with, they've also come up with a plan, worked on a plan. I've seen people in the solid waste sector work on a plan. And none of this was requested by the government, but they saw themselves as stakeholders, part of something important. This is really an extraordinary time, and it has unlocked some extraordinary cooperation. And I guess the challenge is going forward, how can we continue to capture that? And how can we continue to extend it, not just for Trinidad, but also for the wider Caribbean? And I know that there are challenges there because, as I say, as soon as you say change, because this is what it is, you are suggesting a change in terms of our approach, to stop looking at only our bit, but to look at the broader bit in terms of considering solutions. And that is going to require some higher level of cooperation. And how do you craft that engagement? What incentives can you craft to really bring that to the table? But I'm in that place. I'm an optimist, and I think that at least our experience in Trinidad shows that if you make the right case, people are willing to offer their time, their talent, to promote and to develop plans that are in service of something bigger than themselves.
I agree. No words better said. So we're almost to the close. So I just wanted to ask you, what are some of, so with all of that we've discussed, what are some, I want us to get at the homeowner level. I want us to get at the individual level. What are some of the recommendations or suggestions you have for people at home who are watching this, who are thinking, okay, oftentimes what I've found in conversations with people, they think that anything environmental is either very expensive, will take up a lot of their time, or requires a huge, grandiose effort. So if they thought of something small, then they talk themselves out of it because they feel it's too small not to make a difference.
Right.
So I just wanted you to be able to talk to those people, who want to do something, but they also operating from a place of fear in a sense. What are some of the things that they can continue doing, or they can start doing from even at the household level, to help us all work on getting our waste management and getting our waste reduction and all of our plans and activities to really be able to see those things come to life?
And that's a very good question, I have to say. And the answer to that is that, at least in the first instance, we're not asking everybody to make grandiose gestures. Just to speak directly to that person who feels that doing one thing doesn't count. If you consider 1.4 million people, and you consider one bag per month, you're talking about 1.4 million bags per month. And quickly the mathematics of the thing adds up. If you chose every month to use one less plastic bag, or to reuse one plastic bag, you are making a choice collectively as Trinidad and Tobago for well in excess of something close to 20 million plastic bags for the year. So that is an amazing number if you consider one bag. One bag, just once I'm talking about for the month. So that's an easy challenge. You can do the same thing with containers. If you buy food in containers. Some of the containers, even though they're plastic, they can be reused. And now, I see a lot more partners coming in with, bamboo and paper and recyclable containers. And that's great. That's fantastic. But for those who are still getting foodstuff in plastic containers, there's no rule that says you have to throw it away. You can wash it with soap. You can reuse it. You can use it as a planter. You can use it for a number of different, you may use it to put soap in at your home. And again, one choice that you make multiplied by 1.4 million is a choice that affects the amount of waste that goes into our landfills. So these are choices, I think, everyday choices that people make. You spoke earlier about the beverage containers. We buy beverages all the time. I like to get my red Solo with my roti. That's just how it goes. But we can make choices there. We can put them in the IKEA bins, which are all over the place by a number of the larger supermarkets in particular, and outside a number of the schools, particularly larger schools. So those are easy choices that you can make that helps to contribute. And we at SWMCOL, partnering with EMA and with others, are trying to create something that is more sustainable out of this plastic waste that is being generated. So there are opportunities, and what is the consequence? What is the legacy that we leave for our kids? Again, if we consider, I'm buying a case of drinks every month, 24 drinks. Every year we're talking that, and let's just say that it's just one case that my family is going through, and I'm buying one case every month. We are talking about over 200 bottles during the course of a year. And that is an impact. That is something that is tangible, that we can do. We all grieve in our hearts when we see the rains come and the bottles start flowing down the various watercourses. And unfortunately, we as Trinidadians and Trinbagonians, the people who live here, we are the ones who put it there. So I'm not asking for grandiose measures to get everybody in Port of Spain to get together and go and pick up all the bottles, but when you use your bottle, as your father would have encouraged you, don't dispose of it improperly. Try to put it into one of the available recycling programs. And I think that makes a difference. It makes a difference to the drains, makes a difference to the environment, it makes a difference to our children, it makes a difference to the beauty of this Trinidad and Tobago that we have. There's no planet B, there's no, second Trinidad that we get to go to afterwards. It's not like that. Let's leave it as we remembered it, a beautiful, beautiful space.
I agree. There's this show that I saw, because I always have stories. There's this show that I saw called Wasteland. It's actually, the entire movie is actually on YouTube, where they were in Brazil and went to the landfill. And that was the first time I saw there was a scavengers association. And I was like, wait, they come in together? So, but what happened is that there was an artist, just to give you a little background what the movie is, there was an artist who wanted to be able to give back to those same scavengers, and to help them with, little things that they can get just to increase their living, make their lifestyles a little better. And so he would take what was coming out of the landfill and turn it into these beautiful pieces of artwork and then sell the artwork. And all of the proceeds from the sold pieces would go back to the association. And there was one of the scavengers that said this, and I'd never forgot it. He said, 99 is not 100. Just one makes the difference. And I sat there and I was like, that is profound. 99 is not 100, just one makes a difference. And we have to realize that one action can make a difference. One action multiplied by 1.4 million people makes a difference. We all have to do what we have to do. One of my things, of course, is that I want the collection of recyclables to be mandatory, not voluntary. It's voluntary right now.
Right.
So everything that I do is to somehow subliminally or indirectly make that happen, because I want every single household, notwithstanding we need the laws to govern it, to make sure that it happens. But we don't always have to wait for the big stick. I know some of us like the licks, so we will have to wait for the big stick. But it doesn't mean that we necessarily need to do it. You can start now with one activity. I mean, yesterday, one of my students in my composting class sent me so many pictures of her compost heap, and I was like, I'm so proud. Because she decided that she's not going to throw away her scraps and stuff anymore. She's going to turn it into compost. And I have a goal of creating 100 composters this year. 100 people who learn the process of composting and put it into action. And all of that goes with what we are talking about. We need to start. Behavior change is not easy. I mean, I was having a conversation with the president of the Energy Chamber, and he was telling me, and that day it was a low day for me. I was like, I think I'm ready to pack this up. And he's like, no, never do that. Why? He said, let me give you an example. Health and safety. Health and safety wasn't always a big deal in Trinidad and Tobago. He said there were accidents and incidents happening all over the place. Nobody was reporting things. Everything was kept under the rug. He said, but then the OSH agency came from the international conglomerates. They started to put pressure on the local ones to get their health and safety where it needs to be. He said, Anshan, didn't we all change? Aren't we all now boasting about our KPIs, or, for those who don't know what KPIs are, key performance indicators, in terms of no accidents and incidents for the entire year? He said, aren't we all boasting now and having our chest to the air? He said, but that wasn't always the case. So that is proof to show you that it does not happen overnight, but it will happen. So you keep the pace, keep going, because it will happen. Sooner, and I have friends who say, Shan, I never even thought about this recycling thing. I never used to collect anything. So, but because you keep talking about it over and over and over again, I decided, you know what? Oh gosh, let me listen to the girl now. And they started collecting when they drink their water, taking it. I actually used to provide that as a service, Mr. Thompson, to homeowners. You can't get to your IKEA bin. I used to drive my car to people's homes and collect their bags of bottles and take it to the nearest IKEA bin.
Wow, that's nice.
Because they didn't have the ability to do that. And I'm like, I'm not letting anything stop me. So, okay, I have a car, I'm using the car. Sometimes I can't even see out the rearview mirror because it's just bags, just bags of bottles in the car. And I would drive to SWMCOL's facility and drop it off if I'm in the Port of Spain area. Or if I'm in the east, I'll look for the nearest IKEA bin and I'll put it in there. I remember I actually, in the beginning, I used to work with Holy Name Convent, and they did not have, didn't have an IKEA bin in the schools yet. That wasn't approved. That didn't happen just yet. Mr. Thompson, I used to drive to Holy Name Convent, pack up the car with bags, and then drive to SWMCOL facility, sometimes twice for the week, just so that, so they would call me, Mishan, and the whole program was led by the students, which was amazing to me. Not the teachers, the students. They would pick up and tell me, they like the phone, so they WhatsApped me, Mishan, we have bags of bottles there for you. One even offered her parents' vehicle who had a van because she realized Mishan just loading up the car. And I'm feeling so sorry for this. But I wanted to get it done, and I did not want them to find an excuse in not having it. So to everybody else, so as we wrap up, to everybody else that is out there, if you have your passion and you want to do something about it, find a way to get it done. You may not have the money, you may not have all of the resources at your disposal, but find a way to start. Can I work with somebody then who has a vehicle? And maybe I could just, the relationship could be, I just pay them for gas. Find a way, bartering is a hell of a thing. It works wonders, right? So find a way. So to all the entrepreneurs out there, because the waste industry is a beautiful industry, especially as an entrepreneur, you want to come in and take waste and turn it into something beautiful. I have a friend that turns paper into books and journals. I have another one that takes old vinyl records and makes them into clocks. Another one that does takes bottles and turns them into lamps. So there's so much opportunity, and you just have to see it. I remember the beginning, people were sending me, Shan, why do you do this? And Shan, I was like, listen, I can't do it all, you know. I would love to, but I can't do every single thing. I could do what I am good at and make sure that I pull others with me, so that we all, because we all have the same mission, we're just taking different pathways to get there. So Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
I just want to say thank you so much to you for taking the time out. When you're CEO, you're busy, you know, people. So he took time out to chat with me today, which I'm very appreciative about. I continue to be a champion for SWMCOL, not only as somebody who actually, so guys, I actually used to work for SWMCOL for a number of years. It's where I learned a lot of the things that I know today. My boss used to say I was like a sponge. I just used to absorb everything. And I never said no to things either. You want me to do this? I'll go on. You want me to do, because all of that was in learning. And I'm thankful that I had that approach, because all of those things still stay with me and allow me to do the activities and to be able to even do things better now that I am as an entrepreneur. So I continue to say thank you for SWMCOL. I know it is not easy. I know, as we say, you'll take a lot of licks. Is there room for improvement? Always. My mother always says the biggest room in any house is improvement. So we can all do better. I can do, but we all have to also work together to accomplish this goal, because it's a big goal. It's a big task.
Yes.
So we have to continue to work together. So I am happy. I tell you, I always have a story. I met myself. Mr. Thompson was in one of my presentations. I didn't know who he was. But of course, in usual Shan style, I did everything to the best of my ability. And I said, you know what? I'm going to find him. Found him, I did. And we have just been in touch with each other ever since. So don't think that you can't connect with anybody. You can't reach out to people. You can't send them a message. I'm using my own experiences as an example to you guys. So Mr. Thompson, again, thank you so much. Please thank your corporate communications specialist, Miss Ely, for making this happen.
Definitely.
And tell her she's not, guys, tomorrow is my birthday. She's not going to eat cake with me. That is not going to happen. She loves me way too much. She loves me.
We've done this before. We've done this before. So I just want you to know there's something there. But Shan, we also want to say thank you very much for the opportunity. We do enjoy talking with our partners. As I said, we as SWMCOL are not here to do this by ourselves. We need people like yourself, people in this space, similarly minded, to help us with the whole public education, getting the word out. You are doing more with your goal of 100 composters than I'm suggesting to the regular person with one bag. So certainly you're going ahead and above and beyond, and we salute that. We appreciate that. Every little bit helps. As your friend would have said, well, the guy from Brazil, one makes the difference. And so you're definitely one of those that are making a difference, and we salute you and we thank you. We always have time for our partners in this fight.
Thank you very much. And again, guys, so thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching the video. Please make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that we keep in touch. And as the videos come out, you're first to know. So thank you again, and we wish you guys the best. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.